Hey everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. Today I'm going to do a video which I said I was going to do for a long time, and that's like all the videos, so I should stop saying that. And the video is going to be on how to buy plants online and not get screwed. As many of you know, I am a little bit of a plant hoarder and I buy lots of plants online. I try to support local as much as I can because I really want to help local businesses out, and especially my local economy, and especially the local plant people, because we have a wonderful community here in Western New York of plant enthusiasts. But I'm also a little bit of a plant snob, and it's all going to the cats. And as I dive deeper into this whole plant thing, I tend to like more and more obscure things which are not readily found locally. So I have to purchase some things online. But as a result, I have learned so much about buying plants online, and I'm so happy that I can share with you how not to get screwed and what to look for. I am one of the moderators of Time to Splurge and Purge BST, and that is a very popular buy-sell group on Facebook, which you should join, and I'll link below. The other moderators and admins also came together to help me compile a lot of information on this, and because we work together and try to resolve all of these issues, there's so many issues that come up when you buy and sell plants online, let me tell you. We have a lot of input on how not to get screwed in buying plants online, particularly Facebook and Instagram, because a lot of this information has to deal with looking at the particular plant that you're looking to buy, and a lot of websites do not have that. So I would like to start off by thanking the other admins that helped me compile this information. There is Allison, who is Aeroid Alley on Instagram. There is Sobela, who is My Little Urban Jungle on Instagram. And there's Christiana, who is Jungle PNW on Instagram. And also Michelle, who is Variegated Pups and Plants. All of these people, and me too, sell plants and we buy plants. So we have a lot of great information on how not to get screwed. I am not going to get into naming certain buyers and sellers, whether they are positive or negative. This is just giving you the tools and information in order to just have a successful transaction. We're going to go through this, and this is all pertains to this all pertains to buying and selling in America, and like I guess wherever you are, but it has nothing to do with importing. Cody, who's also an admin on Time to Splurge and Purge, I will connect his YouTube channel above, and he is going to be doing a video on how to import plants and how not to get screwed in importing and what to do when you import your plants and all that. He's awesome. Go check him out up there somewhere, and let's get started. First off, make sure you look at the plant really closely. Look to see what the leaves look like. Is there any yellowing leaves? Are the leaves wilty? A lot of times in the heat of the moment, we get so excited and like, oh my God, I wanted this plant forever and ever, and you say sold. And then you get the plant and it's damaged and you're like, oh no. But you know what? A lot of times, most sellers, a good seller, is going to include any sort of damage or anything like that that's done to the leaf. They'll say like, look, this leaf has yellow, or look, this leaf is torn, just so you know. So even if the seller doesn't do that, just be aware. Look at the leaves. Try not to buy any single-leafed plants. Single-leaf plants generally just don't do as well as a plant that has more leaves. I mean, the leaves is how the plant gets its energy, and it's just how the plant processes things. I mean, the roots too, but like the light part, you know, the light goes photosynthesis, all that, all right? So the more leaves, the better the plant's gonna do. And then there's a few sellers that just sell single leaves, either a single leaf node or a single leaf cutting, and just don't do that. Don't buy those, okay? Like, that just makes it really hard to make sure that you're gonna have a successful transaction and be able to root it and all that. Like, you definitely want as many nodes as you can. A lot of people do ask to see the roots of plants that they're buying, and honestly, I would not demand this, because if it's growing in something and you're asking to see the roots and you take it out, you are disturbing the roots, and then the plant has to basically readjust when you go and repot it, or if the seller goes and repots it, and then it has to go to you, and odds are you're gonna repot it, even though I don't repot that plant. Like, we're just gonna go into that another time. But don't demand to see the roots. it can cause more trouble. If it's already in some sort of clear container or glass or plastic or whatever, then yes, like seeing the roots is great. A lot of times roots, if the seller shows roots, and this is a good way to tell if a plant is recently imported or not. More on that later, maybe next. Yes, it's next. So, number 2, try not to buy recent imports. Think about the journey that this plant has made. Let's say your plant was grown in Thailand or Indonesia, and most of us here are in America, and there's no environment in America that is even remotely like Thailand or Indonesia, right? Like we just can't compare to a tropical rainforest jungle nowhere in this continent. So this plant is going from there on an airplane and flying here and shoved in a box, and then like they have to like spray the roots down with stuff and spray the plant down and take all the matter off of it. Like this is super traumatic to the plant. This is awful. Like it's like taking an Eskimo and putting in the Sahara and like shoved in a box and then into the Sahara, and that's just no, we don't do that. That's bad, but we do it to plants. So a good seller who imports plants takes the plant in, lets it adjust, usually for, I mean, it can take anywhere to 2 months, maybe even longer for that plant to like start to look healthy again after that. But there are some sellers out there that will import a plant and then immediately try and flip it as soon as they get it. And so then that poor thing is gonna, you know, just came from Thailand and then it's arrived wherever in the country, and then it's gonna have to be put in a bag and then it has to come to you. Like, it makes me so sad just thinking what that plant has to go through. And once you receive that plant after going through all of those changes, odds are it's not going to do well, and it might die, or it might be a stump for a while for you. And I really, like for me personally, I really want people to be successful with plants as much as they can, because the more you are successful, the more plants you have and the more joy you're going to get from those plants. So definitely do not buy from any seller that flips plants as soon as they get them. Ways that you can tell whether or not a plant is a recent import. Probably one of the telltale ways, and this is something that I mentioned in the previous like step or advice, is the roots. So if a seller is showing you roots and they are sparkling clean, like if there's nothing on them, and especially if there's no soil on them, it's a high possibility that they may be a recent import. In order to be imported, these plants cannot have a speck of soil or any sort of like medium, like they can come in moss, but they can't have any sort of soil on the roots. So they have to like be freaking like scrubbed and washed and sprayed and all this stuff. So like the cleaner the roots are, the more likely it is going to be an import. A lot of times imports also will have like yellowing leaves, or another way that I can really tell if a plant is a recent import is how they look. So if a plant comes to you, or if you see a plant online or something and it's sort of flat and squished and it's not full and open, that means it had been packed recently. And once if you get a plant online and you get it in the mail, it comes that sort of like kind of flat and squished and like healthy looking for the most part, but it takes a while for the plant to open it up and stretched out after being in a box in a while. So that is something that I also look for, is just to see the shape of the plant, the general health, and like that kind of stuff. Okay, so we had to do a battery change in case like, things look different and the angle and all that stuff. And we're on number 3, know who you're buying from. Look for reviews. On Facebook, there's a group called the Plant BST Review, and that Facebook group is only about reviews. They really, really thoroughly go through each case and each dispute and each review before letting them be posted on the Facebook group. So a lot of times, certain people are going to say, oh my gosh, I had a negative review with like literally everyone. And these pages, like even our page, we talk to the buyer, we talk to the seller, we hear this story, we hear that story, and I'm sure the BST review page does the same thing before a review is allowed to be posted. Like everyone wants to be fair, everybody wants to be successful, and just have a good experience. So on this page, the review page, and even our page, and we allow reviews too, all the reviews are completely reviewed. The reviews are reviewed. And also on the BST review page, they have a list of people they do not recommend buying from. They're not necessarily banned because like they can't really be banned from anyone, but when a seller has had numerous complaints or concerns, they go on the negative BST review list. Any good purge group will review any review that is posted, because like I said, you know, there's some people that just have a vendetta against the world and want to like hate on everyone, and we want to make sure that that's not the case. Like we want to make sure everyone's voice is heard, at least on our purge group. Like this is like an experience related to our purge group, so it's just like non-biased and straightforward information with like, you know, a jury of your peers, and we just want to make sure the best information and reviews are being put anywhere. And then fourth, there is seller integrity, transparency, and just communication. I have decades of retail experience. Like I started working in stores and things since I was 16, and I have worked in stores and in customer service in one way or another since I was 16. I'm 39 now. So, and one thing that I have learned is dealing with people is that you definitely, I mean, this is like an old adage, two old adages that I'm going to say. One is you always get more flies with honey than with vinegar. And two, in retail, they always say that the customer is always right. You want your buyers to come back to you like all the time. Like you want to be able to sell more things. And if you treat your people right, and if you want to resolve any sort of issue that you have with anything that you buy, whether it's like a plant or like, you know, I work in a high fashion store, you want to make that person happy. You are, at the end of the day, giving someone money and you're buying a plant from them, and they should want to make sure that you're happy so they come and buy more plants from you in the future. That's how this works. It's an addiction, and the only cure is plants. A good seller will communicate through every single process of the selling transaction. Some of the things that my favorite sellers do is showing you their collection. I want to buy from someone who loves plants as much as I do. I don't want to buy to someone who brings them in and flips them and then sells them. Like we went through the whole importer thing, right? I want to buy someone who gets so excited and has this amazing collection and that loves the plants, and maybe that person doesn't even want to part with the plants. I definitely do not part with a lot of my plants because I love them so much. And so I really like seeing where these plants come from. I like seeing these people's greenhouses. I like seeing how they propagate. I like seeing what they know about plants. I love seeing how they rehab. I love just seeing all aspects of it. So a lot of my sellers do share a lot of that information, and I love seeing that. So that makes me want to buy from them more. Some other things that a bunch of good sellers that I have come across are ones that take photos of the entire process of the plant getting shipped to you. And this is also like covering the seller's ass, mind you, but I still like to know and see what's happening. So this like one seller showed me the plant, like all different angles, like, hey, look, this is the plant you're getting, just so you know. And like, oh, look, here's the plant in the box. And then, you know, once you give it to UPS or USPS, like you never know what's going to happen to that plant. So it's nice to be able to see the process of that plant getting to you and just having all that information. And that also covers the seller's butt too. When I sell plants, I really like showing a picture of my mother plant. That way, if you buy a cutting or something from me, or just a rooted cutting, you know, a baby plant, then I can be like, hey, look, this is where your plant came from. And I love plants. I love all the plants, and I want to see where my plant, I love seeing where my plant comes from. And I love seeing what my plant can be after I buy it. So sellers that can show me something like that, like I have so much respect for them to be able to grow something like that. And it just shows that they're into it way more than just like the money and just flipping or whatever. Like, you know, it just shows that this person is a plant person, like me, and I want to buy from a plant person. A good seller will also like flip over backwards to try and make sure that you're happy with your purchase. A seller is actually the one that is supposed to be filing a, if they say you get the plant and it comes to you and it's damaged or in like crappy shape and USPS just messed up, because you know it happens, it's actually the seller's responsibility to file the claim with USPS. You should try and reach out and try and resolve any sort of issue with the seller. If that doesn't work, before you file a PayPal claim, that's getting into the buyer territory, and we're going to do that later. Okay, and lastly, I want to talk about shipping. A good seller like really knows how to ship a plant and make sure that it arrives to you in the best condition, no matter like what the postal service does to it. Like they could use it as a freaking hockey puck. It should still arrive to you in good condition. And most sellers are pretty good about knowing that. I like to see a plant that is ideally secured in the box, like taped to the inside of the box, and that way it's not moving around. I like to see a lot of padding. Since I'm like an environmentalist, I really don't want to see any sort of like styrofoam packing peanuts. And plus I feel styrofoam packing peanuts don't really secure a plant that well because they move around too much. So whether it be like that stuffed animal stuffing that people have been using, or shredded paper doesn't move around as much as packing peanuts, like newspaper, toilet paper I've seen, like don't use toilet paper, that's a hot commodity right now. But however they can secure a plant is good. If it is a tender plant or if one that's prone to breaking easily, like a lot of the terrarium begonias and some anthurium, they should put some sticks, like toothpicks, like large toothpick things around it so it doesn't get, leaves don't get crushed or broken while inside the box. I live in Buffalo, New York, where it is winter like 8 months out of the year. So I need heat packs because sometimes I do order plants through the winter, and heat packs should always be separate from the plant, and they should definitely be secured in the box, like taped, glued. Like they should not be moving around. Heat packs are really heavy and they can hurt the plant if they're moving around in the box as they're getting transported. Also, heat packs don't work if it is under 30 degrees, which is something that I have since learned. So if it's below 30 degrees, like don't even bother ordering a plant, and definitely don't ask for a heat pack because it's not going to work. So really you should only use a heat pack if it is between, I would say, like 30 and 45 degrees, which is a pretty narrow window. And also keep in mind, generally your plant is not like sitting outside while it is coming to you. Like it's in a warehouse or it's in a post office, so it's not always somewhere where it's going to be exposed to elements. But not saying that you shouldn't get a heat pack, but just keep that in mind. A good seller will also ask for a screenshot of your weather before they ship it out. And I haven't seen too many sellers do that, so since I live where I live, I will just screenshot it and send it to them so they're aware of what the temperatures are. But a good seller, you know, like the top-notch sellers, they should be asking for your weather and asking for a screenshot so they can make sure the plant arrives to you in the best condition it possibly can. And then also, like an excellent seller will hold a plant. Like I've had sellers that I've ordered a plant from, and they are the ones that look at my weather and they'll say, look, I don't want to send you this plant because I see that your lows are in the 20s and I'm not confident how it's going to get there. Do you mind if I hold it? And I always usually say yes. I had a huge big name seller website that did this, and they were so nice. They sent me an email and they said, hey, I know you really want your plant, but we're just going to keep it on our greenhouse shelf until like your weather improves, and then we're gonna send it out to you. Is that okay? And I'm like, yeah, like I don't need this plant tomorrow, but thank you so much for like doing that. Like they don't have to do that. So that is a really great seller. And I think that's it. I think that's most of it. So that's how you do not get screwed on Facebook and other places where you can buy individual plants. But I hope you enjoyed that. Keep a lookout for Cody's video on importing and how do you import plants and all that. And also I will be doing a video in the near future, on how to be a good buyer as well. Please subscribe and like and comment, and if you have any other further questions or suggestions on selling and buying and any of that, please let me know. I really want to help you guys out as much as I can and share as much information as I can. I love talking to you guys, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.